have a secret to tell you. I'm Dan Cooper.
What's up, Scary Gang Gang? Welcome back, or welcome to...
Scary Hours.
Scary Hours. First off, we hope y'all are doing well today, and if you're not, we hope this video cheers you up, as we always say, and you get a laugh out of it, and you get scared with us.
I hope not.
And you just love it. So for today, y'all already know, I know we got the Buzzfeed army on our channel, and it is growing. Yep. So we have a Buzzfeed reaction that y'all voted on a poll that y'all wanted to see the second most, and this video is called The Strange Disappearance of D.B. Cooper. So this must be a really famous case. Have you ever heard of it?
No. It just reminded me of the locker of Davy Jones.
From SpongeBob?
Yeah. The locker of Davy Jones.
Yeah, with that being said, y'all really wanted to see this, so if you're not subscribed to the Buzzfeed Unsolved Network, you gotta go over to the channel. You gotta hit that subscribe button. Do it! Just do it! And if you're new to the Scary Gang Gang, become a member today. Hit that subscribe button down below. Do it! Just do it! You can join our Discord as well. A link is in the description. We have a really fun announcement as well about some of you who can become members if you'd like of the channel.
Oh!
Yeah, more information on that soon to come. And yeah, I believe that's all we have for you all. So let's get straight into it. And okay, here we go.
This week on Buzzfeed Unsolved, we discussed the famous case of D.B. Cooper, a case that the FBI has referred to as one of the great unsolved mysteries in FBI history. It's also considered one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in U.S. history. It's a favorite of mine.
Yeah, I've heard of this one a little bit, just a little bit.
Oh, you haven't heard it like I'm about to tell it.
Oh boy.
Okay,
Strap in.
Let's strap in, baby. Let's get into it. On Wednesday, November 24th, 1971, the day before Thanksgiving, a man going by the name Dan Cooper bought a $20 one-way ticket on Northwest Orient Airlines with cash for flight number 305 from Portland, Oregon to Seattle, Washington. Cooper was described as being in his mid-40s and wearing a business suit, a black rain-type overcoat, brown shoes, a white shirt, and black tie. He carried a dark briefcase and a 4-inch by 12-inch by 14-inch paper bag. Before the plane took off, Cooper, seated in seat 18C, ordered a bourbon and soda.
He seems like a cool dude.
I don't think he even ordered the bourbon and soda to calm his nerves. I think
No,
he
he's
just
probably
did it
just like,
he's a badass.
soda. Now, I'm D.B. Cooper, I'm a mystery man. Give me a bourbon. It's a big gulp.
After the plane had taken off,
That was a big swallow. By the way, yeah, that reminds me of our dog. Do all dogs just do that, where they just are like, and it's like hella hard? Yeah, exactly.
a little after 3 p.m., Cooper handed the stewardess a note. At first, she just put it in her pocket without looking at it. But then Cooper said, quote, "Miss, you better look at that note. I have a bomb," end quote.
What the?
What's so funny about that? He has a bomb.
I think it's funny that he passed her a note to be discreet about it. Like, hey, keep this on the down low. And then she was just like, thanks, and walked away. And he was like, hey, you might want to read that because I've got a bomb. God damn it. Yeah, I got a bomb, everybody.
Cooper told her the bomb was in his briefcase and asked her to sit next to him. He opened his briefcase to show red-colored sticks surrounded by an array of wires. After that, Cooper asked the stewardess to write down what he was saying and take it to the captain. Quote, "I want $200,000 by 5 p.m. in cash. Put in a knapsack. I want 2 back parachutes and 2 front parachutes. When we land, I want a fuel truck ready to refuel. No funny stuff, or I'll do the job."
No funny stuff.
I also like how he says, "do the job."
I'll do the job.
Like that's his threat, which actually to me,
badass.
he's not a dime store criminal. Let's just say that.
He's
I'm on board with the Coop train.
Me too. I'm a fan of this guy.
You a big Coop head?
I'm a Coop head.
One eye.
This man Shay was like, I'm a fan of this guy. He's about to bomb a plane.
Of course, because he's evil.
And do a terroristic act.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see if he actually got the bag.
The detail was that Cooper asked for the $200,000 to be exclusively in $20 bills. The flight landed in Seattle, and Cooper exchanged the 36 passengers on the plane for the money and the parachutes he had requested. Cooper kept some crew members on the plane and had the plane take off for Mexico City, requesting that the plane remain below 10,000 feet. During the second half of the flight, Cooper put on a pair of dark wraparound sunglasses with dark rims that would later become part of the sketch that would become famous for anybody familiar with the case.
Yeah, I'm just imagining like a camera just
pushing in on him as he's like.
He sounds like a super villain.
He really does.
He look like a villain that you see in a Marvel movie.
Yeah, exactly.
D.B. Cooper. Dun, dun, dun.
Maybe they'll make a movie based on him.
That would be cool.
Yeah, it would be actually. Oh,
if
my
we were in
God.
today's age, this guy would definitely have headphones in playing Spotify playlists of epic soundtracks.
He'd have one of those shitty hoverboards.
Not an actual hoverboard, but
Yeah, he'd be like, or I'll do the job. And he'd take out his wheels, put them down, start moving up and down the aisle. Knapsack, or I'll do the job.
A little after 8 p.m., when the plane was somewhere between Seattle and Reno, Nevada, Cooper jumped out of the rear doors of the Boeing 727 with 2 of the parachutes and the money, never to be seen again. One thing worth noting is that Cooper took off his black JCPenney clip-on tie before jumping, a piece of evidence that the FBI was able to procure a DNA sample from.
You think James Bond ever wore a clip-on bow tie?
Yeah, I guess. Wow, that does kind of...
That's kind of takes the wind out of my
Well,
sails a
maybe
little
if
bit.
he like knew he had to do it quick, and that was
Still,
like
but
an efficiency thing.
If he was like, I'm gonna put my sunglasses on, it'll look cool. If he was like, clink.
With the DNA sample from the tie, let's jump into the investigation launched to identify the...
Wait, but so he jumped out of the flying plane.
Yeah.
I
think his tie came off though.
But I thought when you open the door on a plane while it's flying, the plane automatically crashes because of all the pressure that's coming in from the outside.
No, that's not true. That's not true at all.
No?
No, because the pilots are still like, flying the plane.
Yeah, but I thought because they always say
like the wind will cause it to bend or something because of the pressure.
Maybe it's different when it's just a window instead of a whole door. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
Of course, there's planes that do that where they have obviously when people jump out of planes all the time.
When they do skydiving.
But a passenger plane is something completely. I don't know. I thought that's completely different. Because in the military, they open the back, I think. The back of the plane, not the side.
Oh, well, let us know to our plane experts out there.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't think, that would cause the plane to crash, no.
Okay.
But let us know in the comments down below if you know more about it.
Excuse me.
And you're into, planes.
I'll ask my brother, too.
I wanted to say arrow something. No, I forgot. But, yeah, let us know.
Yeah.
Man who called himself Dan Cooper. The case was called Norjack, standing for Northwest Hijacking, and would last decades. The plane was intensely searched for evidence. Desperate to find Cooper's identity, there was extra interest in $20 bills, because the FBI had released the serial numbers of the bills stolen by Cooper. Remarkably, in 1980, 9 years after Cooper's escape, a young boy found a rotting package filled with $20 bills that matched the ransom money serial numbers. There was $5,800 in all. The boy found the bills on a beach at Tina Bar while making a campfire with his father. People theorized that when Cooper jumped out, the money possibly fell into the Washougal River before eventually making its way to Tina Bar. That's basically all they've theorized.
I'm just imagining him just jumping out and immediately just losing grip of all the bags. Just a man plummeting to earth with a bunch of money flying around him and being like, ah!
Though, this discovery would ultimately lead to nothing, as the FBI scoured the surrounding beaches, finding nothing else. In the year that followed the hijacking, several letters were sent to the FBI. The New York Times, the Washington Post, the Los Angeles Times, and Seattle.
I know the media had a frenzy.
This was
with
planned.
Yeah, definitely.
Seattle Times, either confessing to the crime, eulogizing a recently deceased D.B. Cooper, or claiming to be his brother. In fact, in November 1972, 2 men, Donald Sylvester Murphy and William John Lewis, were taken into federal custody on charges of extortion for impersonating Cooper and selling his tell-all story to a tabloid.
It seems like a bad idea to make your get-rich-quick scheme to be to impersonate a criminal.
Yeah, that's
I wouldn't be like, ha, hey, it's me, the Zodiac Killer. I'll tell you a story. What? Oh.
Leads were tracked all over the country, and more than 800 suspects were considered over the first 5 years of the investigation. All but 24 suspects were eliminated from consideration. One peculiar fact is that the initials DB have no actual relevance to the case, and the FBI isn't sure where they came from. It was reportedly a mistake from a wire service that caused him to be called DB Cooper instead of Dan Cooper, which is how he presented himself when buying the plane ticket.
DB sounds cooler.
It does.
Dan just sounds like your neighbor who's like asking to borrow a lawnmower.
The physical description of Cooper is thought to be very accurate. 2 flight attendants spent hours with him on the plane and were interviewed separately the night the hijacking occurred. They gave nearly identical descriptions of Cooper, saying that he was 5'10" to 6 feet, 170 to 180 pounds, in his mid-40s, and brown eyes. People who interacted with him on the ground gave similar descriptions. His voice was described as low, no particular accent, but spoke with an intelligent vocabulary.
I would like some bourbon and some money or I will do the job.
Sounds like a terrifying version of Siri.
It's me, Dan.
The charge against Cooper was originally air piracy, but that had a 5-year statute of limitations. And as time went on, with no suspects being found guilty, a grand jury later indicted Cooper for violating the Hobbs Act. The Hobbs Act is a federal statute designed to prevent extortion and has no statute of limitations, meaning if Cooper was found tomorrow, he could be charged even though the FBI investigation has since been called off.
Damn.
Before we jump into suspects, I'd like to point out that the pilot told officials that he himself chose the route the plane took, not Cooper. Cooper only requested his end destination of Mexico City, a decision that is a bit puzzling when you consider the fact that Cooper knew he intended to jump out of a plane. This seemingly eliminates the possibility of Cooper having an accomplice, as there was no coordination about the route from Cooper, and therefore no coordinated drop point.
This is what always interested me about this case. It's because it seems so meticulously planned up until he jumps.
Maybe he's one of those people that like goes out to do things, like I'm kind of like this too, where I'll go out and I'm like, I'll figure it out in the moment.
Or he was confident and he nailed it.
With that, let's jump into the suspects. The first suspect is Richard Floyd McCoy, who's the favorite suspect of former FBI agent Russell Kalam and former federal probation officer Bernie Rhodes. The two men even wrote a book about the case. In April 1972, 5 months after Cooper's escape, the FBI arrested Richard Floyd McCoy for hijacking an airplane. When examined, the McCoy heist is definitely similar to the Cooper heist. Like Cooper, McCoy hijacked a plane and parachuted off of it. McCoy jumped out the back rear staircase of a Boeing 727, the same plane Cooper jumped out of, using the same method. Also like Cooper, McCoy requested 4 parachutes and was calm during the heist. Reportedly, both of the men passed notes to the flight attendants claiming a bomb was on board, a detail that becomes more compelling when you learn that both Cooper and McCoy's notes reportedly contained the phrase, "no funny stuff." Another suspicious coincidence is the fact that both crimes reportedly occurred while Brigham Young University, where McCoy was a student, was on break.
He was a student?
In this theory, yes.
I was thinking about it in like a cold, hard criminal way. I wasn't thinking like, spring break! That sounds kind of fun.
Do you think that's what he yelled when he jumped out the plane? Spring break! He just falls out to his death.
Spring break!
Perhaps the most riveting detail is that according to Kalam and Rhodes, members of McCoy's family identified an object left on the plane by Cooper, an object that was never publicly identified. Some parts of the internet seem to believe that this object was a Brigham Young University medallion with McCoy's initials on it, but this seems to stem from the Wikipedia page on the case, which makes this most likely complete horseshit. I mean, the thing is, if that's the case closed.
Yeah.
Brigham Young University medallion with his initials on it. I mean...
But it's not definitive, it's not...
They just said unidentified object, which is probably like a stick of gum or some stupid shit like that.
Oh, he chewed
he chewed
fruit
Wrigley's.
for sure, yeah.
He chewed Wrigley's.
He was a big juicy fruit man.
Regardless if McCoy is Cooper or not, the FBI eventually ruled out McCoy as a suspect for the Cooper case, mainly because he didn't match the descriptions of Cooper given by the flight attendants, though Kalam and Rhodes listed the two men as looking similar. Additionally, according to FBI archives, McCoy was home with his family for Thanksgiving dinner in Utah the day after the hijacking. Unlike Cooper, McCoy was actually caught after his heist and sentenced to 45 years in prison. McCoy would actually escape from prison in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, and later die in a gunfight with FBI agents in Virginia Beach, Virginia. I just love how that story has so many, like,
I know.
he's out.
Like,
he's not
yeah.
out. He's out.
Huh?
Shot to death.
Oh.
That was a roller coaster of emotions right there.
Yeah, it was.
The second suspect is Dwayne Weber, who claimed to be D.B. Cooper on his deathbed. His wife, Jo, claims that in the hour of his death, Dwayne pulled her close and said, quote, "I have a secret to tell you. I'm Dan Cooper."
I was trying to take a drink, and I just imagined.
Closer. I have a secret to tell you. I'm the phantom of the sky.
And then he died.
I bet she did not see that one coming.
No, she's probably going to be like,
did he cheat on me?
Exactly. Did you cheat on me?
Exactly.
I'm a man of myth.
This revelation led to Jo revisiting what should have been clear clues. According to Jo, Dwayne had nightmares where he'd sleep talk about, quote, leaving fingerprints on a plane. He also had a knee ailment that he claimed he got jumping out of a plane. Dwayne's handwriting was reportedly found in the margins of a library book on D.B. Cooper. Jo also claims Dwayne took her to the place where the money was eventually found on Tina Bar Beach. That's interesting. If that's true, that is interesting.
Wait, what did he write in the margins? This was me.
Cool guy. Coolest guy in history. Nice sunglasses. Wow. Bourbon's great. And finally, Jo claims that Dwayne had an old Northwest airline ticket for no apparent reason. 29 years after he left the case, here is a quote from former lead FBI agent Ralph Himmelsbach on Dwayne Weber. Quote, "He does fit the physical description. He does have the criminal background that I have always felt was associated with the case." End quote. Himmelsbach also believed that Jo Weber's story may have credibility, but ultimately did not believe it was him.
But his name was Dwayne Weber, which is also D.
But where's the B?
D. Cooper. Dwayne Dan. That's kind of close.
Yeah, that is. That is close.
Feel me?
Okay, I see you. I see you, detective.
Yeah.
She may be telling the truth,
Sounds pretty credible. I don't believe her.
but she's probably lying.
Yeah.
The third and final suspect is Kenneth Christensen, the favorite suspect of the author Jeffrey Gray.
Wait. Didn't they say that they found a piece of DNA on the clip-off?
Yeah, they did on the clip on top.
So they should have just, well, I don't know if he was already like cremated or under the ground, but they should have just took a sample of DNA from her husband and saw if it was the same DNA.
Do you think that technology was around back in 1972?
I was going to say, I don't know what year she came to say that and if they had the technology to do that.
That's true.
Nowadays, that's what they would do.
Yeah, for sure.
Dang it!
The theory began when Lyle Christensen, the brother of Kenneth Christensen, saw an episode of Unsolved Mysteries and became convinced that his brother was D.B. Cooper. Lyle also cites a deathbed confession from his now late brother Kenneth. Kenneth reportedly said, quote, "There is something you should know, but I cannot tell you." End quote.
And then he died?
And then he died. Talk about a guy who appreciates a cliffhanger.
Yeah, that's great.
I could, you know
Awful.
what? Touche, Kenneth. Kenneth was a flight purser for Northwest Orient Airlines, the same airline that Cooper hijacked, which would support online suspicion that it was an inside job. Kenneth also loved bourbon and bought a house shortly after the crime, though it was reportedly unassuming. Perhaps the most enthralling part of Gray's theory is the fact that when he showed a picture of Kenneth to a flight attendant who interacted with Cooper, she agreed that of all the suspects she had seen, Kenneth was the closest. Though, she also said, quote, "I can't say yay," end quote. Bizarrely, the FBI debunked Kenneth on the basis that he didn't match the description. So once again, the FBI coming in hot with some weird I don't know. It's
an inside job. They're like, okay, nope.
We're not gonna arrest him because he's one of us.
He's one of us. Even if they had him and they knew it, they would just be like, nope, he was black.
I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
You're cool, FBI. I'm just saying.
You don't want to make enemies of the deep state.
I don't. Especially now with never mind.
Yeah.
Another reason the FBI discredits Kenneth as a suspect is because Kenneth was a paratrooper just after World War II, a detail that is damning according to the FBI, who believes that Cooper was not a skilled jumper.
Maybe he was masquerading
they
as an
know that?
unskilled jumper.
That's an interesting suspicion, and perhaps, well, let's get into the next section. And
Greatest way to fool someone is to act a fool yourself.
Is that...
Julius Caesar,
No,
Shakespeare.
no. No.
That's not.
No, I didn't think so.
I thought you'd fall into that one.
No. Which brings us to our next suspect, or rather theory, from Special Agent Larry Carr, that D.B. Cooper did not survive the fall. Agent Carr took over the D.B. Cooper case in 2007. Here's a quote from him on the matter. Quote, "We originally thought Cooper was an experienced jumper, perhaps even a paratrooper. We concluded after a few years this was simply not true." End quote. Here's some details that support that narrative. Cooper jumped carrying 2 parachutes. However, only one of them was a functioning chute. The other was a training chute that was sewn shut. Furthermore, the chute that was functional was a military chute that was not steerable. He's kind of starting to sound like an idiot.
A little bit.
The whole time he's like, yeah, bourbon soda. Bomb. Here's your note. I'm a cool guy. Sunglasses. Jumps out the plane. Splat.
It's not a splat. I think a pine tree just... just like, no.
Kill me.
Little squirrel runs up to him.
What the heck?
Get out of here!
Here's some more details from Agent Carr. Quote, "No experienced parachutist would have jumped in the pitch black night, in the rain, with a 200-mile-an-hour wind in his face, wearing loafers and a trench coat." End quote. Other reasons he possibly died in the fall include him jumping into a wooded area at night, and there was no visibility of the ground at the time that he jumped, as there was a cloud cover at 5,000 feet.
So this guy's a dum-dum.
He's a dum-dum.
Yeah.
He's a big dum-dum. Big dum-dum floating in the sky with a stupid trench coat blowing in the wind.
Loafers.
Obviously, this theory loses a bit of credence due to the fact that his body or chute were never found. The last theory we will discuss comes from a group of amateur science.
Alright, y'all. So, AirPods died, so now we got the regular headphone
Old
action
school.
happening. Actually, how we started the channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is how we started it. So, yeah. Let's finish the case.
Scientists that refer to themselves as citizen sleuths.
That's frankly kind of what you are.
Yeah, and that's why I like this theory.
Okay, well, let's see what your friends have to say.
I got you guys, don't worry. He's gonna be floored. Citizen sleuths employed the use of an electron microscope to discover north of 100,000 particles on D.B. Cooper's tie. Among these particles, they discovered cerium, strontium sulfide, and pure titanium. According to lead citizen sleuths researcher Tom Kay, quote, "These are what they call rare earth elements. They're used in very narrow fields for very specific things," end quote. Kay stated that although these elements were rare during 1971, one place they were being utilized was at Boeing, where they were developing an advanced supersonic transport plane. Kay and the citizen sleuths posit that Cooper may have been a Boeing employee, explaining the rare materials found on his tie. Quote, "The tie went with him into these manufacturing environments, for sure. So he was not one of the people running these manufacturing machines. He was either an engineer or a manager in one of the plants," end quote.
I feel like if you got a job at Boeing, just
Why,
hang in
why,
there.
why does he
Get a nice 401k, retire. Why you gotta go jumping out of planes?
Because that's not how DB does it, baby. He likes bourbon, he likes adventure, and he likes notes.
And flying through the sky, screaming with a pair of loafers on.
Kay believes the key to identifying Cooper rests within the memory of perhaps one person in the Pacific Northwest who was involved in the aerospace industry at the time. If that person is you, all information can be relayed to the Citizen Sleuths via the contact tab on their website, citizensleuths.com. The FBI called their search for D.B. Cooper one of the longest and most exhaustive investigations in its history. As of 2011, the FBI case file measured 40 feet long and covered more than 1,000 suspects. So what we presented here is only the tip of the iceberg. The case was open for 45 years before the FBI finally closed it in 2016, though they are still willing to listen to possible leads. What do you think happened?
I'm gonna go Occam's razor on this one and just assume that he rocketed into the ground. A little juxtaposition of him being on the plane being like, I'll have a bourbon. And then 2 hours later being like,
After all these years, people are still transfixed on the identity of the cunning crook known as D.B. Cooper. But for now, and perhaps forever, the case of D.B. Cooper will remain unsolved.
All right, y'all. So that one was wild.
I think it was maybe the husband that said it on his deathbed.
The one that dramatically said, like in a movie,
I am Dan Cooper.
It was me. I
because didn't one of the flight attendants say out of all the suspects he looked the most like him?
Yeah, she did say that.
Another one?
I think she did say. No, that was another one. That was another suspect that looked the most like him. It was the third one. The brother.
Oh, the brother, where he was like, I gotta tell you something, but I can't.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not.
I think it's the one where the flight attendant said, like, out of all the suspects, he looks the most like him. That's the one. I think that was it.
I think that's the one too, honestly, because I know he didn't die, obviously, because they would have found his body or the chute.
Yeah, they would have found something.
So yeah,
or whatever.
Something. Let us know y'all theories in the comment section below, because I really want to hear it. This case is so interesting. I hope y'all enjoyed this. Again, if you're new to Buzzfeed Unsolved, go over to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Do it. Just do it. And if you're new to the Scary Gang Gang, and this is the first video that you're seeing from us, we got tons of content on the channel.
Yeah, we do.
So subscribe to the channel for more. Hit that subscribe button down below. Do it. Just do it. And other than that, exciting things are to come, and we're looking forward to seeing y'all in the next Scary Hour! Our dog thought we were communicating with her, so we're gonna go play with her now.